This video on the USAS Redesign accounting software will show you how to look up a vendor and process a requisition. So under Core, if you select Vendors, again, this grid will appear. So if you want to look up a particular vendor, you can start typing the vendor's name under the primary name. If you want to see if it's an active vendor, you can also further filter it based on the parameters under each of these grids. Okay. If you want to view the information on that vendor, you can pull up the vendor and see the additional information there. The process for adding a vendor has not changed. If you need to add a vendor, you'll want to contact Christine Chase in the Treasurer's Office, and she can help facilitate with that. We'll need a W-9 from the vendor, and once we receive that W-9, we will add that vendor into the system. So this is a way for you to check to see if the vendor exists before you need to process a requisition. So all of these fields you can filter on in each of the column. If you want to filter, so if I want to look up my name, if I put Douglas, you'll see it will not bring up my vendor because it's searching on the first word in the primary name. If you put a percent in front of and in back of the word you're going to search, now it'll search for all the vendors that have that name anywhere in their name. So now you'll see it brings up Doug Beeman, the vendor. Otherwise, I just need to search on the first word in that vendor to find them. Okay. To process a requisition, under Transactions, you go Requisition. Now bring up the requisition grid. You can search based on these parameters. Okay. If you need to add a new vendor, we go to this Create button. Create new requisition, and it brings up a screen that's very similar to what you're used to seeing in USAS Web. Enter the requisition number, the date, your description here. This is a general description for the PO. You'll enter additional detailed description down here when you get into the body of the requisition. The vendor lookup is a little bit different. You just start typing the vendor name. And again, you can do that with the parentheses, or excuse me, the percent in front of and back of the name as well to search for the vendor here. Delivery address, all of our delivery addresses will be entered in here. Okay. And then we'll populate for you as well. Something that's a little bit different, if you are used to using multi-vendors, the multi-vendor feature is a little bit different. We used to have vendors that were multi-vendor. Was the name of the vendor. We no longer have a multi-vendor vendor. You just leave the vendor field blank. And then this multi-vendor button will be checked automatically if you leave your vendor field blank. Okay. So once you've entered that information, you come down and hit the plus, similar to USAS Web again. Enter your quantity, your detailed description. When you're using your description here, especially if you're using a multi-vendor, it's very important that you list the vendor that you are actually want to use on each line. So the first line might be Walmart, second line might be Bueller's if you're going to multiple places under that same vendor. Or maybe it's your name if it's a reimbursement or whatever. The unit price, and then the charges. You can start typing your account number if you know it, and it'll start bringing up account numbers. What I do is suggest you click on the search, and it'll bring up a field similar to what you're used to seeing with the boxes, and then you can put your account number in. See, if I just put the 200 and the 924, it's going to bring up all my student councils. So if I'm a student council at the high school, I can select that and it'll bring that account number over. Okay. So look at that again. You click on the hour, you put your code in, your numbers that you need, search that, double click on it, and it'll bring it back to your charges. description. You enter your description, quantity, your price, and then your requisition is complete. If you're doing multiple requisitions in a row, you'll want to click on the Create New. That way when you hit Save, it'll allow you to roll right into creating a new requisition. If you're just doing one, you can click on the Close, hit Save. Well, let me post this because I'm in the wrong period. And your requisition is created. Okay. One important change with the system, under the old system, your requisition date was your purchase order date. So if you created a requisition on a Monday and it didn't get converted to a purchase order until Thursday, the date of the Monday's date would be your PO date. That is not the case anymore. The PO date is going to be the date it's created. So if you create a requisition on Monday and it's not created to a purchase order until Thursday, Thursday is your PO date. So you need to be very careful about going out and purchasing things before you know that your requisition has been converted to a purchase order. Because that PO date, the system will not allow us to backdate POs anymore. That was kind of a flaw in the old system that they've corrected. So make sure you plan accordingly and have your requisitions done at least 3, if not 5 days ahead of time so it can get through the approval process and can get converted to a requisition in time for you to make your purchase. Again, if you have any questions about creating a requisition, please don't hesitate to contact anybody in the Treasurer's office and we can assist you.